You are listening to Lone Star Community Radio on 104.5 KCZW LP Conroe and 106.1 KZCC LP Conroe, and worldwide on irlonestar.com.
Thanks for checking out this podcast of Lone Star Community Radio, Montgomery County's community radio station. If you enjoyed this recording, make sure to check out our past shows online at irlonestar.com or their respective video or podcast formats on YouTube, Google Play, or iTunes. If you have any questions regarding the show, either it being about sponsorships or questions for the host, contact the station manager at dick@irlonestar.com or call the station at 936-647-3776. This show was recorded in downtown Conroe, Texas, at the Lone Star Community Radio Studios, and Lone Star Community Radio reserves all rights to this recording and images.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is Rick Schissler, your Silver Fox advisor and host of the Weekly Business Hour. Welcome to this week's show. We've got some good weather outside, and I think we've got a really good show for you inside, so I hope you'll listen all the way through the show. Got some exciting guests. I am going to start off, though, today with my original thought for the week, reasons for success. Special guest, though, and here already in the studio this morning, Diane, DeLuca, and Mo Hineline. Got that right, ladies?
That's correct.
Good. I got it. With Juice Plus. And we're going to talk about being an independent rep and the company that they represent, Juice Plus. Also, we'll have in the expert corner, I'm pleased to say that Lisa McElroy will be joining us again from Alegre HR. Lisa, you may recall, if you've listened to our shows this year, provides us with, I think, outstanding human resource information. If you have one employee, you have human resources. So remember that. And I'll close out today's show with my Silver Fox tip of the week: to outsource or not to outsource. What is the answer? So I encourage you, sit back, grab your pad and pencil, and get ready to take notes as we talk about business right here on the Weekly Business Hour. And before I move on, I want to mention the Silver Fox Advisors. One of the things I've talked about a little bit recently, but I want to make sure everybody's aware of it. In the greater Houston area, Silver Fox Advisors have what are known as CEO roundtables. These are roundtables of peers, businesses that are your peers, not competitors. There's only allowed one industry on each table, unless you, if you're the original member, allow that. But primarily, you sit at a table once a month for an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours, and you talk about your business, and you do it in a confidential environment, and you have 5, 10 experts, if you will, people who have started their businesses there to help you understand and make those critical decisions. So I encourage you, if you'd like to learn a little bit more about the CEO roundtables, and again, there's no cost for them, I encourage you, go to the Silver Fox Advisor website. That's silverfox.org, org.org. And there's a page there you can click on. It's got all the information that you'd want to know, a couple of videos taken of people who've been on tables. So I think it's a great thing to know. If, in fact, you would like to talk to me about it, feel free to. Let me give you my number, 832-699-2132. Or if you prefer, just email me at the station here, Rick, R-I-C-K, at irlonestar.com. So let me know what you're thinking. And if you want some information, again, I think roundtables, business roundtables, are a very important part of a successful business. So here's one with the Silver Foxes. I think they're outstanding. So check it out. Well, we're to that part, thought for the week. Why they do what they do. Now, you got to be asking yourself a question. And what is he talking about? Why do they? I'm talking about you as a business owner. If you're listening and you're a business owner, why do you do what you do? Well, there's been a lot of studies, as you can well imagine, and you may have seen some of them over the years about why people want to become entrepreneurs, why they want to start businesses. Well, one of them I picked up recently, and I liked it because it was a chart, kind of a pie chart with a little modern twist to it. But they broke it down this way. They say that the most important characteristic of someone who starts a business is determination. 65% of respondents said determination was the most critical part of starting a business. You've got to be determined. I think that goes without saying. Risk-taking, 57% of the people said being a risk-taker, meaning you're willing to go out on your own. That's a big risk for most of us, is to leave that cozy if you will, corporate environment or being an employee and get out there and take the risk. The next one is vision. You've got to have vision. And I agree with that. Very important to have a vision. And then the next one sort of ties it all together. That's having confidence. You have confidence in yourself. You got that determination. And then positive thinking. I mean, all these kind of tie together, but somehow people have selected this as being their most important thing. And then last but not least is creativity. You have to be creative to be successful. And I think that's important, particularly in businesses where you come up with a new product or service. You've got to really be creative. But I think otherwise, if you're doing a Main Street type thing, or you're doing some industry that's been around and you've just got a little bit of a twist, or you've got some great ideas how to service the public better, creativity might not be up on the top 5 or 6 for me, but it's got to be there. What I'm encouraging you to remember, we're all different. We all have different motivations, different directions that we're seeking to go. Hey, and that's what makes the world go round, right? We're different. Mm-hmm. Opportunities are right there in front of you, so grab them and move forward. The weekly business hour is where Montgomery County and businesses throughout the world come to talk about the latest in business news, ideas to improve your business, and hear from some of our own local business leaders on how they have found success right here in Montgomery County. And I want to remind you before we go further that we're on Facebook. If you haven't checked us out yet, we have a page, the Weekly Business Hour. I encourage you to go to that page, like us, I'd appreciate that, but also set up an alert so that when a new show is posted, and basically all that's on that page are shows, then you will get an alert. You can go check out the show. You can see who was on, the main topics of discussion. And if you see something that's interesting, then you can listen to the show or listen to that part that applies to what you're working on at that time. Well, now we've got some of those great business leaders here that we're going to talk to, right, ladies, in the studio today. And I'm going to formally introduce Diane DeLuca and Mo Hineline. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having us.
And you represent Juice Plus. So let's kick it off right there. What is Juice Plus?
Well, you go ahead. I think Diane can answer that one.
Juice Plus is very simple. It's fruits, vegetables, and berries in capsules. We need to eat fruits and vegetables every day to keep our bodies running at the optimal health. And we don't generally eat 10 servings a day. So we make it simple, convenient, and very economical to have those 10 servings a day in capsules. It's a salad bar in your hand. Very simple.
So very similar to, if I'm thinking about it right, to a vitamin. In other words, if I need certain essential vitamins every day, it's a way to make sure I get them.
Well, there's a difference.
Okay.
It's the similarity is it's a capsule. The difference is our capsule is whole food, fruits, vegetables, and berries that have been picked by our growers, ground up, juiced, dehydrated. The sugar, the fiber has been removed. The nutrition is there. Vitamins are produced in a factory, in a laboratory. So they're not real foods and fruits and vegetables. So our body really doesn't know what to do with them. They take them in, and we pretty much send them out to the porcelain throne. That's what a vitamin is.
So we don't digest them and process them.
No, they don't go into our bloodstream like fruits and vegetables do.
So basically what you're saying, and let me look at you, Mo, you've got a capsule there. This reminds me of a space movie, and so I'm gonna eat my dinner, and I take some capsules, and I've had green beans, and I've had some fruit, and all this all in that capsule, so I don't really get to enjoy chomping on it. I just have to take the capsule.
Absolutely, like the Jetsons. That's the only other thing that I can think of was growing up and watching the Jetsons and seeing them eat the food that came out of the wall on the tray. It's exactly the same, but it's our produce just in a different form, and we're just not used to seeing it in a capsule form, so it's a little confusing at first, but it is produce in a capsule.
Well, let me ask you this as kind of a follow-up to that. People have to, I like the fact that it assures, which I thought vitamins did, that I am getting those basics that I need, that my body needs. Even if I do eat vegetables and fruit and all the proper diet, at least I'm assuring myself if I am on your program. What is the main reason people come and approach you or join up with your program?
I think it's because it is a simple product. We don't have a lot of products. We have the capsules, and we have a plant-based shake mix, and we do not eat enough fruits and vegetables. Yeah, I enjoy eating fruits and vegetables myself, but I know I'm not eating 10 servings a day. I'm eating 3 to 4, and that's pretty much what America does. Our diet is very white. We eat a lot of carbs. We eat a lot of meat. We eat a lot of cheese. We don't eat a lot of the rainbow of colors of fruits and vegetables. And that's why we're getting sick. Inflammation starts because we don't have enough nutrition. Inflammation leads to colds, to sickness, to flus, to disease. And we're the oil that keeps that engine running, the fruits and the vegetables. So yes, we encourage you, eat as many fruits and vegetables, chew as much as you want. But yes, we have the insurance. We're getting all that nutrition every single time you swallow our capsules.
Well, let me ask you this before we wind down on our first segment today. Between the two of you, what makes your product stand out in the marketplace? I mean, there are all kinds of nutritional programs. Every time you turn on the TV on cable, at least there's an ad for this or that. Some of them I've heard of, some are new. What makes your product different? Why would I look at your product versus another product?
Well, Juice Plus, it's very unique. We are the only product on the market that has research. And it's over 37 research studies proving that once you take Juice Plus, it gets into the bloodstream and it does what the body needs to do to heal itself. It's not a medicine. It doesn't heal you. But if you're taking fruits and vegetables every single day, if you're eating them, this is the next best thing.
Well, that's interesting. So you when you advertise and market that's what I'm looking, your program really is totally different than anything out there.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it is.
Does anyone else, just curious, and we were running over a little bit, does anyone else sell this kind of product where I can get a fruit and vegetable in a capsule?
Not that we're aware of.
No, but they do. There are products that you can get, but it won't have the 27 different types of fruits and vegetables and not the rainbow effect. They'll have just broccoli isolated, or they'll have acai berry isolated. They just have the single fruits and vegetables isolated in a pill form, or a cranberry isolated, but nothing like what we have, the variety that we have.
It's a very interesting product. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have already come to our first break of the day. I would ask you to please stay with us. When we come back, we're going to continue this discussion with Diane and Mo about their product, and in particular how they got involved and became entrepreneurs as independent reps. So please stay with us. We'll be right back.
Listen in Mondays at noon to hear Conroe news from local nonprofits, businesses, upcoming events, Conroe Park events, news stories, and information that matters to you with your host, Margie Taylor of Taylorized PR. For more information about being a guest, visit irlonestar.com/Conroe Culture.
Don't forget to download the Lone Star Community Radio app for your Google Play or Apple Store. Bring Montgomery County's community radio with you anywhere with your smartphone or tablet. If you are in the Conroe area, tune in on FM. That is Conroe's FM 104.5, 106.1.
A Lone Star Community Radio is ready for the summer. If you or anyone you know is looking for summer internship opportunities, a Lone Star Community Radio is a great place to grab the mic and be on the air. A Lone Star Community Radio offers a great opportunity to those interested in learning about the radio world all year round. Be an on-air personality, talk show producer, or YouTube, TV, podcast editor. Contact the station at info@irlonestar.com or call the station's message line at 936-647-3776.
You are listening to the Weekly Business Hour, and this is Rick Schissler, your Silver Fox advisor and your host for the Weekly Business Hour. Well, we're in the midst of what I think is a very interesting discussion. It's about nutrition in our bodies. That should be important to all of us. But in particular, I'm kind of interested in this program of taking a capsule instead of eating my broccoli or cabbage. I mean, I just can't imagine that, ladies. But let's kind of back up and talk about business for a second, the actual business. What motivated y'all to get into this business, to become an independent rep?
You want to go first?
I'll start. For me, I was eating the product every day, and I felt amazing health benefits personally, and I felt I had to share this with people. It was selfish if I kept it to myself. I wasn't looking for a business at all. This business found me, and it's so simple to do. it was a no-brainer just to do it.
Now, your background, were you in business at the time or employed, or what's your background in business?
My background is I'm a pattern maker in the fashion industry.
Okay.
I've worked for corporate America for 40 years, 30 years. I don't know how long, a long time. I worked in Manhattan for 11 years before moving here to Houston. I worked for the Children's Place for 21 years as their head pattern maker and spec technician. I am currently a professor at Houston Community College in the fashion business. So I have no background in nutrition, but I know simply fruits and vegetables work. And like I said, as a consumer, I naturally went into having my own business. And this business gives me the flexibility of pursuing my fashion interests. I can pick up and go to fashion events in the city, and I can sell Juice Plus and share. We don't sell Juice Plus, we share Juice Plus actually, because it's a no-brainer to help people to feel better and to have more energy every day.
Well, Mo, what's your story?
So I have a not as long story as hers of the 31 years, but for 12 years I was in the military. I was a Air Force security forcesman, and after that I got out, had my degree, thinking I need to find something, and then I was doing business development for 5 years for a medical company, and in there I fell in love with business in general. The acquisitions, the mergers, the de novos, all of that, and I wanted to get a better understanding for it, and I wanted to be my own business person. So I went back to school to get my master's in entrepreneurship, and once I got that, it was just only time of figuring out what kind of industry I wanted to get into. And I wanted to find something that was going to meet my lifestyle. That's what, when I was going through school, it said, find something that's going to meet your lifestyle, not the other way around. So you're not going to end up in the same boat like you were when you were working for someone as an employee. And I'm active. I love to give advice to my friends and family about what to eat, what not to eat, helping them get active, inviting them out to do half marathons and running and just overall wellness. And Juice Plus was just a no-brainer for me. And 2 years ago, I was introduced to it during a community event in our neighborhood, and I met Di. And ever since then, I haven't looked back. The research, the marketing plan, everything, it was just right on point of where I wanted to go.
Well, it sounds like y'all kind of approached it from different directions, but it makes a lot of sense of why you joined the program and became an independent rep. Well, let me ask you this, and there may be nothing, but I occasionally want to ask this question. If you could start over as a rep, anything you do differently?
I would have said yes to the business the day I started eating the products. So that would have been almost 5 years ago instead of 2 years ago. So I would be further along in the marketing plan, and I would have helped so many more people feel better and be healthier today.
What about you, Mo? Anything?
No, I wouldn't have changed it. I think that all of my background has helped me to where I am right now. It set a firm foundation of the way that I see things, the way that I market our business, the way that I speak to people, how I do constant self-development, and I'm into different types of radio shows and business shows, and I'm constantly feeding myself, and it's helping my business grow that way. So I wouldn't change anything.
Well, let me ask you this, you latched on this business, you're an independent rep. Does the company do anything for you directly other than supply products? I mean, do they offer support? I know in the franchising industry, some support, in some cases a lot of support, and that's why a lot of folks will go to franchises. Do you get any kind of support from the company other than a supply of products and literature and whatnot?
Absolutely. We do own franchises. They're called virtual franchises. We work off of our phone. The company supplies us with our virtual office, our website, customer support. Anytime we have a problem, we have a direct line and we get help immediately. They ship the product for us. They produce the product for us. They do the billing for us. So basically, our only job is to open our mouth and share the great news of this nutrition. And then we put orders into our phone. We keep track of our customers. We ask them how they're doing. How are they feeling? What are they noticing? And are they ready for another supply? That's pretty much our side of what we do.
Now, let me make sure I understood what you just said. All you need is a cell phone to be in this business, so to speak.
Yes.
I'm assuming a smartphone, but is that it, Mo? You just need a phone?
Yeah, a phone and a mouth.
And a mouth.
Yes, and a mouth so you can speak. And also, added bonus is the drive. the drive to help families get healthy. You have to have that drive because that's going to keep you going.
Well, let me ask you about healthy families. If you could, what is the profile of your average customer? I mean, who is one that is on this program and finding success with it?
I believe that it's moms who are just tired of being tired and their children being sick. And the mommy guilt hops in. I'm not a mom right now, but in the future, I'm sure that I will have the same kind of mommy guilt. They're really, really busy and they don't have time. And there's just so many things pulling at them, and food gets put on the back burner with school activities and taking care of the home and working outside of the home and just the umpteenth number of things that they have to do. And when Juice Plus comes along, they're like, oh, now I have some assurance that my children are getting something. And they know for sure that, with our research, that it's good nutrition. And they're starting to see a difference in the children's behavior and their behavior and the family getting together. So it's something that they're all doing together as the first thing, one simple change of adding to Juice Plus. And then they find out that they're eating dinner together. And then they're being conscious of having meals together, but healthy meals, and making those meals and wanting to work out together and do walks together. It's just a foundation of a first start of what happens when you add nutrition into your diet and you start working as a family, a true family, the way that you're supposed to be working.
That's really interesting. And you mentioned, because one of the things I like about these kinds of products, and they're like razor blades, they're repetitive sales. Mm-hmm. So once you have a client, which is always, to me, the most difficult thing is to obtain a new customer, a new client, whatever. And then you have, assuming they're happy, a repetitive customer. Well, let me ask you, though. You're independent, and you got your phone and your mouth, can't forget that, and some kind of transportation, of course, if you know that. But you don't have a storefront, okay? Any thoughts about how that affects your business, not having a storefront?
I think not having a storefront is amazing because we're not stuck to a region. And even if you are a sector of an area or a zip code, like other traditional businesses that have storefronts, which is great. And yes, those businesses that do have storefronts are also online, but they have to be there. Someone has to be there, either themselves or someone else. And for us, having our business on our phone, it allows us to be everywhere. And we can offer our products in over 30 countries. That's amazing. And not being in one set place, that people know that when they contact us, they don't have to come to a store, because sometimes that's comfort. But nowadays, the millennials, they don't want to do that. Everything is online. So our business is the next generation of what is going to be hot.
Well, let me ask you, if I can, Diane, what are some of the challenges, though? Now, I've heard some great advantages of not being locked down to a storefront. What are some of the challenges of being a true independent rep?
The challenge for this product is sharing the products and getting people to understand what fruits and vegetables do to our bodies. They kind of put prevention on the back burner. You can't feel deterioration and you can't feel prevention. So everybody thinks they're eating healthy. I thought I was eating healthy till I heard about Juice Plus. The day I heard about Juice Plus, I was asked, how many fruits and vegetables did you eat today? I had cheddar mashed potatoes. And I thought I was eating healthy. So it was a light bulb went off. And I said, I need this product. I'm not eating all the fruits and vegetables that my body needs. So the challenge is to have people understand we need to prevent illness. We feel deterioration when we end up in the ER, when we have a flu, when we have an ear infection. Our children are sick. They're missing school. When they miss school, you miss work. So we're keeping the bodies healthy, and that's our challenge, to educate our friends and our family and people we meet that we do really need these fruits and vegetables. It's not of when I get to it, we need it now. And the beauty of our product, when Mo was talking about moms and kids, our product, our company gives away the children their own products. If they're younger, they get free gummies. If they're teenagers and older, even through college, they get free capsules. So for every adult that gets fruits and vegetables, we give it away to the kids. And that's the beauty of our company.
Well, that's an interesting marketing ploy. I kind of like that. Well, ladies, we've kind of wound down to the end of this. I would be remiss, though, if I didn't let you give some information about how to contact you, either about being an independent rep or about Juice Plus. What's the best way for folks to reach out and contact you?
So you can reach out to Mo at 281-979-2060 and just text me, Rick, and I will be in contact with you.
Same with Di, and we're Dynamo, actually. My number is 713-412-9216, and I prefer texting as well. We also have an event coming up, if we could share that real quick.
Quickly.
It's called A Cocktail Dreams, and you can find it on Eventbrite. It is on October 26th, and it's an entrepreneur workshop. And it's going to be a lot of fun, and we'd love to see as many people as there as possible.
People are interested, just call one of you and you'll give them the information.
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, ladies, again, thank you so much for coming in. Congratulations on having your own business as an independent rep, and congratulations on being in the nutrition business, such an important part of our lives. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we've come to the end of the first half of today's show. We're going to take our bottom of the hour break. When we come back, I'm pleased to say that Lisa McElroy with Alegre will join us and talk about human resources. So please stay with us. Lisa always has some real good, solid advice, and I think you'll enjoy her today. So please stay with us. We'll be right back.
Relax.
Lone Star Community Radio is looking for those who are interested in hosting their own talk show, with monthly and weekly slots available in Conroe's FM 104.5, 106.1, and on irlonestar.com. Start your own podcast, create your first YouTube channel, and be on TV. Contact Lone Star Community Radio online at irlonestar.com or call the station message line at 936-647-3776 to take your first step into the radio world.
Don't miss Lone Star Community Radio on TV and YouTube. Our talk show and music shows are featured on Our City TV, Suddenlink Channel 12, and have their own YouTube channel. Make sure to subscribe to keep up with posted shows and comment on them below the video.
Lone Star Community Radio is Montgomery County's radio station with talk, music, weather, and traffic for Montgomery County. Have a question, comment about one of our shows? Want to know how to reach a host? Just contact the station on irlonestar.com or call in and leave a message at 936-647-3776. Get involved with your community with Lone Star Community Radio.
This is Rick, TRC. Every Monday through Friday from 3 to 7, I play today's country hits on my show, Afternoons with Lone Star. The type of music that makes you want to get off your seat, stomp your feet, sing along at the top of your lungs, and not care who hears on Lone Star Community Radio, Conroe's FM 104.5 and 106.1, and as always on worldwide, irlonestar.com.
This is Rick Schissler, your Silver Fox advisor and host of the Weekly Business Hour. Thank you for listening to the show today. We're at that segment of the show that I think is so important to us as business people, and that's listening to experts, people in particular fields that can give us advice and direction and are available to talk to you if you have a question after the show. So let me, without any more delay, introduce our expert for today, and it's Lisa McElroy. She has a company, Alegre HR. So we're going to talk about everything about human resources. Lisa, welcome to today's show.
Good morning. How are you?
Oh, we're doing fantastic. As you know, it's a beautiful day outside, and I think you're out playing golf today, aren't you?
Well, I'm not playing golf because nobody needs that kind of a headache, but I am volunteering at the Society of Samaritans annual golf tournament.
Well, I think that's wonderful, and that's something that on the show I talk about a lot is community involvement and sharing our time and talent and hopefully treasure with our non-profit partners that are around our area here. Well, let's talk about human resources. You've done such a wonderful job in previous shows earlier this year talking about particular areas. Today, I believe you want to talk about managing difficult employee conversations?
Yes, that seems to be a theme occurring with some of my clients lately.
Well, let's talk about that. I mean, when you said difficult and I was looking at this, that happens more often than we think. I mean, we've got to have a conversation with an employee either about performance or could be anything related to their job. And as a manager, that's sometimes really hard because we're worried about what's going to come out of this, unless, of course, it's a firing situation. How do we approach having that kind of conversation?
Well, I think any conversation that's going to be difficult with an employee or a friend, a peer, whomever, really has to be done from a position of respecting that other individual's point of view, and realizing that it may very well be just a case of self-awareness that may be lacking, and so often just simply a conversation that spells out what the issue is. And if we're talking about a small business here, we're going to say this is a performance issue or an attitude issue. Often the case can resolve itself simply by casting some light on it and asking the person to, move into a different mode.
And I think you make such a wonderful point, because a lot of times, I know it's been true for me, is that we don't want to have these conversations, kind of hide from them, at least mentally. And then when we have them, a lot of times they turn out really well. Like you mentioned, that, the party, the person, the employee we're going to talk to, they may be a little confused. They may have been thinking about it as well. And the opportunity to talk about it is critical to, in my opinion, for long-term success with that employee.
Yes, the more difficult the conversation is, the more the manager or the business owner, whoever's having the conversation with the employee, really has to gear themselves up to expect the best from that individual, and not be too pessimistic, because if something can be put out on a schedule, we're going to spell out some steps that will help you perform better, answer questions, maybe do a little extra training, and that employee feels supported, they're going to, in most cases, increase their efforts. But you've got to approach the topic from the right frame of mind.
Well, and you make a great point. We've got to have it clear our head. It's not like we can go through, like this morning, I had a little bit of a bad morning, whatever that means to all of us, and getting started and things got forgotten and I was in a hurry. And I didn't really need to have that kind of conversation with my state of mind. I needed to back up, right, take a breath, and come right on. Well, let's back up a little bit, if we can. Let's go back to when we hire people, and obviously there's communication that takes place. The cost of hiring someone is so expensive, and so many people really don't understand that. Tell us a little bit about how expensive it is to make a bad hire.
Of course. It depends upon the specific job that the individual is doing, but I've never seen a company yet that can't actually lock down the hard numbers on what it would cost to replace a person if a performance or an attitude can't be brought around where it needs to be. We're looking at training time and overtime for people who are having to pitch in if it's a performance issue or if that person's vacated the job, hiring a recruiter, increased management time, employee morale, and then there's also the decreased productivity because you're short, maybe just short of horsepower, or you may just be short of a person, and the impact that would have on a client. So the rule of thumb is that it costs probably between 50% to even 100% of an employee's base salary, depending upon their level of the organization. So for an employee that's making $40,000 a year, and say we lose him because he just wasn't the right fit for the job, it could cost us upwards of $60,000 by the time we turn around and spend salary. Someone who we hire is not going to be productive from day one in most cases. So there's going to be some salary spend, and then all of those other costs that I just listed off that are associated with it. So it's a very worthwhile exercise to look at for key roles within a company. How much would it cost if we lost this person, and then put in a retention plan?
One of the things, and some of the issues that you have discussed with me and given me information about small business people, and I hope the small business owners who are listening to this really pay attention to some of the points, because, again, one thing I find are small business people are trying to fill that gap. They're short, and they're looking. It used to be, we called it the warm body fill, and my gosh, they don't know what they're introducing into their business. And I've made that mistake early in my career. And boy, when you can make it, sometimes it really just blows up in your face when you don't take the time and make the effort to hire the right person.
Oh, yeah. And it tends to blow up in multiple areas. A bad hire in and of itself is costly, as we just described. But also, while that's going on and you're trying to maybe decide if you want to retain the individual, losing a high performer who is feeling slighted or not really understanding why a low performer is being given all the attention and the support, you can actually lose high performers while you're trying to spend a lot of time and effort to salvage a performance issue. So communication is definitely a requirement. And by communication, I mean everybody's valuable and, really want to, again, expect the best in performance from everyone. Another, if you will, hidden risk, as you call them, of not really dealing with or hiring the wrong person and not dealing with it, even if you make a bad hire, is you have hidden risk as far as governmental involvement. Would you like to address that a little bit, EEOC and so on and so forth? Oh, of course. Just because an employee works for, a company, nothing prevents them from going to the EEOC and filing a formal complaint and having the EEOC go through their process of vetting whether this is a legitimate issue that the EEOC themselves needs to look into, or, and nobody needs that. We want to communicate with those employees and help them get back on track. Nobody wants to deal with EEOC formalities. But then if the EEOC determines that they're not the right venue to help that employee resolve that situation, they will issue an authorization to sue. So the employees, before things just completely go south and head to a court of law, there's always the EEOC process on the front end, and it's very formal. And a company can do a lot to not only do the right thing by the employee, but also to protect itself by following the same types of procedures with every employee, with every performance conversation, and keeping that high expectation. But basically, what any company wants to do is, first of all, have that conversation with the individual, and then if that doesn't achieve the right response, to start to put a written progressive corrective action plan into place, and that's got some measurables that go with it as well.
And it's all because we made a bad hire. And I know people are listening to this and they're saying, well, this couldn't happen to me. This won't happen to me. I've got 5, 10, 20 employees, 50 employees. They all love me. But when you make that bad hire, I mean, you've already talked about the cost when you have to replace them. Now we're talking about potential government involvement. And I've seen people that I made a bad hire back when I was in my 20s, and you let them go, and then immediately they file every action they can come up with just out of vengeance. I mean, this thing really can get crazy quickly. Well, we've got about 30 seconds left today. What would you want us to walk away today with a tip that we might put in our business, put into effect today? Have something for us?
I can. Sure, I can absolutely recommend from the bottom of my heart that every business out there create some basic management policies and write them very fairly but very specifically, and enforce those policies across the spectrum of their employment group.
Well, I think that's extremely sound advice. And again, even if you have one employee, ladies and gentlemen, you're in the human resources business, so you may as well start out right and get some of this done in the beginning. Hopefully you grow and you can add 2, 3, 5 more employees. Lisa, if people want to reach out to you and talk about everything HR or just learn a little something from you or perhaps engage your firm, what's the best way for them to reach you?
Yes, anybody who's listening is welcome to call me directly. My cell phone is 281-620-0713, and I am always happy to listen and to think through situations, and definitely willing to help your business get back on good footing with its employees.
Well, again, thank you so much for taking time out of your day. I know you're extremely busy, so we're going to let you go. Ladies and gentlemen, we're to our final break of the day. I hope you'll stay with us, and I hope you'll follow up with Lisa. You've got HR issues. Everyone who has employees do. So get some advice, some good sound advice, so that you don't make some mistakes, perhaps like I did. Well, we're going to take a break. We're going to come back, and I'm going to deliver my Silver Fox tip of the week: to outsource or not to outsource. That is today's question. See you in a moment.
The Texas A&M AgriLife Extension Service has been dedicated to educating Texans for over a century. In 1915, the Extension Program was established under the federal Smith-Lever Act to deliver university knowledge and agricultural research findings directly to the people. Ever since, AgriLife Extension programs have addressed the emerging issues of the day, serving diverse populations across the state. Texans turn to Extension for solutions in horticulture, agriculture, 4-H and youth, and family and consumer sciences. Extension agents respond not only with answers, but also with resources and services that result in significant returns on investment to boost the economy. Join us Fridays at 1 o'clock for the AgriLife Extension Hour.
This is Rick, TRC. Every Monday through Friday from 3 to 7. I play today's country hits on my show, Afternoons with Lone Star. The type of music that makes you want to get off your seat, stomp your feet, sing along at the top of your lungs, and not care who hears. On Lone Star Community Radio, Conroe's FM 104.5 and 106.1, and as always on worldwide, irlonestar.com.
Lone Star Community Radio is Montgomery County's radio station with talk, music, weather, and traffic for Montgomery County. Have a question, comment about one of our shows? Want to know how to reach a host? Just contact the station on irlonestar.com or call in and leave a message at 936-647-3776. Get involved with your community with Lone Star Community Radio.
You are listening to the Weekly Business Hour, and this is Rick Schissler, your Silver Fox advisor and a host of the show. Well, we're to that final segment of our show this week, and this is typically where I deliver a Silver Fox advisor. I call it Tip of the Week. And this week I want to talk about to outsource or not to outsource. That is today's question. Don't want to be too Shakespearean about it, but it's very important in the life of a business that you make, obviously, the right decisions. And I think one of the tools that you have available in every business is outsourcing. If you're just starting the business and it's just you, maybe a partner, maybe a spouse, have one employee, then the potential to use outsourcing should be fairly high for you, because there's so many pieces to a business, for the accounting, other administrative tasks, the idea of where you buy things, buy your goods that you resell. There's always opportunities, and people that are out there that are better at doing these particular things than you are. And perhaps unless you grow into a large corporation, you never will have the staff that'll be as good as these outsourced people can be. Now, that said, what parts of my business do I outsource? Well, the most common is your accounting function, your financial function. A lot of times, if as a business has grown to a certain point, maybe 10, 20 employees, $1 million plus a year in business, they'll actually engage a CFO, chief financial officer, because that business won't be ready for a CFO maybe till they hit 10, 20 million or more, depending on the complicated nature of the business. If it's complicated and so on and so forth, might hire someone earlier. But the point is, they outsource the CFO, they outsource the financials, the cash flow, the statements, the annual tax return. There are a lot of companies in our market here in the Montgomery County area that provide those services, and I'm sure some are better than others. The key is to find an outsourced partner, and that's the next thing I want to talk about, that fits your company. As you know, if you listen to this show at all, I believe every company is different. I believe every company's needs are different. I don't believe there's any cut and dry process or procedure that just will work for your company as well as it will for someone else. Now, 95% of it might, but there's always that adjustment that needs to take place. So don't forget that. And if you do decide to be involved and find someone to outsource, say, your accounting to, be sure you go into that with your eyes wide open and sit down and make a list of the things that are important to you about your financials, about the bookkeeping. Write out your process if you haven't already done it, how money flows in and out of your business, accounts payables, accounts receivables. Understand so that when you convey this, don't assume they know, because, again, every business is a little bit different. Talk to these people, because I have a theory. Their opportunity to be successful is really based primarily in the beginning on you and how much information you make them aware of, the little nuances, if you will, of your company and how it works. Now, on the other side of that coin, these companies can offer you something. They can offer you a process and a discipline. Yes, they should be able to adjust, but they will offer you a professional process, or should be able to, that makes your accounting look just as good as a business 10 times the size of your business. And I think it's important to have that kind of attitude, and to have that attitude when you go in and meet and evaluate people. What are some good reasons to outsource? Well, first of all, is cost. The fact is, I can't afford an accountant, a controller, or a chief financial officer, depending on where I am in my business growth. So I can't afford even a bookkeeper full-time, say, if I'm just starting out. So I need to outsource. So the cost, I should be able to save cost. First thing you want to do when you're considering outsourcing anything is the cost. The second thing is, you find, as I kind of touched on earlier, more experienced people. And I think that's important too, that you realize that you're going to find someone potentially that is more experienced. And that should help your business, because you've got, in a sense, a virtual accountant, if you will, CFO, sitting at the table with you if you utilize the services right and they are able to provide them. And third, and last but not least, as they would say, time. You take that time that you would invest in putting together and managing and working with a bookkeeper, if you will, or a controller or a CFO, and you outsource it to someone, and there should definitely be a quantifiable time savings there, which the old expression, time is money. So it flows right back to our first point. One of the things that I think really stops people from outsourcing is the things that you lose. First of all, you lose control. You lose control of your bookkeeping in our example that we're walking through with right now. You lose control of time. Well, no, wait a minute. I said time was the savings, but the communications between you and your outsourced vendor. And that's critical, that when you set up that relationship, as I mentioned earlier, that you communicate where you are now, but ongoing, you and that vendor need to have a set way of communicating. For example, your statements will be in to you no later than the 10th of the following month as you close out a month. If you need to communicate, do you use email? Do you text? Boy, I dare say that. Or do you use the phone? How is the proper way or the best way so that you're assured more times than not that you'll be able to reach the person you need to talk to? And if you don't have this communication in place, then you do start to lose time, because you're trying to hunt somebody down, trying to find them to get some information that you definitely need, and you need it right now. There are also hidden costs potentially, depending on how the services are priced to you, and that's something to remember. Be sure you get a complete proposal that hopefully precludes any hidden cost, or if there's going to be an additional charge, that your vendor is willing to communicate that with you up front. That shows you somebody who really cares about your business, in my opinion. And the final thing I want to touch on, a little bit of time we have left today, is approach an outsourcing not as a fire alarm. You know, it needs to be a process. You've got some time and gradually move into it. In other words, if I'm going to start a business, I've already looked into it. If I'm into a new business, then I need to set aside that time, even though it's extremely difficult, and go through, make a list, develop a list of people to call on, look for references, talk to references, because these are important things. Even if you outsource, say, your phone service, and I know some people have done that and they've been very successful, because in that case, the phone service is 1,000 miles away, but it has worked over the last 10 years for one person I can think of off the top of my head. Has been fantastic. They just pay a monthly fee, and their phones and phone service and everything's taken care of. But they really, really investigated, because I've sat down and talked to them about how the service would work and what their expectations are. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's my Silver Fox tip of the week. Look at outsourcing. It really can benefit you, but beware. It takes time and effort on your part to find the right vendor and to get it set up properly, so outsourcing is a win-win for you and your business. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I encourage you, put a note on your calendar to join us again next Monday right here on irlonestar.com or FM 106.1 or 104.5. And also be on the lookout for our podcast. These will be posted shortly on Facebook. They'll be posted on our YouTube channel, The Weekly Business Hour, and a number of other locations, including the irlonestar.com website. So look for us. If you missed part of the show today or you want to re-listen to something, say Lisa and her HR, always good advice there. So be aware the podcast is out there, and if you haven't already done it, like our Facebook page. Please do that. And until next week, I encourage you, stay engaged. And one of the things I want to do before I actually close out today is to say a big thanks to Jake LaFleur. Jake has been our engineer for quite a while, and Jake is moving up the ladder at his job, and has just assumed a management supervisory role at Fox Sports. So, Jake, congratulations, and thank you for being part of our show.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, keep your focus on what counts in your business and keep moving on. Until next week, this is Rick Schissler, your Silver Fox advisor and host of the Weekly Business Hour.
Thanks for checking out this podcast of Lone Star Community Radio, Montgomery County's community radio station. If you enjoyed this recording, make sure to check out our past shows online at irlonestar.com or their respective video or podcast formats on YouTube, Google Play, or iTunes. If you have any questions regarding the show, either it being about sponsorships or questions for the host, contact the station manager at dick@irlonestar.com or call the station at 936-647-3776. This show is recorded in downtown Conroe, Texas at the Lone Star Community Radio Studios, and Lone Star Community Radio reserves all rights to this recording and images.